Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Eric Rozenberg here. Happy to be again here for a session of mentoring. For those who don't know me, my name is Eric Rozenberg, live in South Florida. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, started several businesses, currently active in ticketing industry and SaaS technology, and as well hospitality industry. I'm also helping some entrepreneurs in their business. And yeah, that's it. In case you wonder about the accent, it's from Belgium. I cannot help with that, although I'm an American now. But anyway, let's get into it. And we have several questions for today. The first one being from Heather Brockman, and she's asking, I'm looking for the best way to get around employees having clients' personal information. Company phone, Google Voice, etc. The business description and the background for the question is that Heather is having an issue with former employees breaking a legally binding contract and reaching out to clients and would like a workaround, so they're not able to access this information, if that's even possible. And she's actually offering high-end holistic grooming experiences for busy pet owners whose animal are part of the family. So Heather, that's obviously a very important question, especially in a business like yours, which is very personal. The thing is, from the moment that you have a contract which is binding, then you can always go to the lawyer's route, or at least send cease and desist from a friend that you would know as a lawyer that could send the letter, so it's not costing you too much. The question here is, how much are you going to spend, and how long are you going to spend for that? So it's frustrating. I know, I've been there. And the point for me is going back to all your processes. And especially in a business like yours, it's very personal. So whoever is grooming the dog or the pet is the person that is having the relationship with the customer. Now, you can put a system in place so they would vary, and there would be always somebody else doing the grooming. On the other hand, I think customers would like to have always the same person if it's something that is done at home. If it's on site and that the groomer is not necessarily there with the customer when the pet is being groomed, that's a different story. So you can have different people that can work on the pet and help you with that. But I would say in this case, increase the, go back to your customer journey. What are the different points that they're having? And so that you're gonna help them basically increase the love of your company before the love of the person doing the grooming. That means, again, going back to all the different touch points that you have with that customer, making sure that if every time you think about new ways of looking at how you can serve that customer. There's a great book from a friend of mine called Joy Coleman, and it's called Never Lose a Customer Again. There's a lot of concrete example in that. I strongly recommend that book. And then go back to your processes. And that's, I would say, the long-term best solution. The short-term being to send a letter from a lawyer, hopefully that it works on something, but it's really increasing the relationship, the appreciation that your company has with the customer. Okay, so next question from Zach Knock. Zach is asking, what are some creative ways to get financing if you cannot get traditional bank financing? The background is his company, Diamond State Technology, specializes in working with access control, automation, camera, and security system for both residential and commercial applications. The reason for the question is that his company is going to hit a stopgap the first week of July. Well, I hope that was okay because today is the 16th. We did sell a large project, and I'm in the process of hiring 4 employees for the project. I'm going to need financing between 50 and 75K to cover existing overhead and to mobilize my crew to the site. This will only be temporary until the invoice for the project hits my account 30-ish days later. Thank you, mentors, for your irreplaceable knowledge and insight on how to navigate this growth I'm experiencing. So first of all, great problem to have. Congratulations for the growth. The first thing, of course, would go to have your going to your bank and have a kind of bridge loan. But if it's this not possible, and I really don't recommend going to what I call the vulture, the people that would lend you money and charge you 8, 9, 10, whatever percent for a short time. There's no other way, and this is what you're doing to grow the business. Okay, fine, but there might be other solution with people you know, but also because you have a contract. What I will look at, and that's something that I did when I had my corporate event agency back in Brussels, I will never, ever advance any money for the customer. And so we knew when we were going to realize the project, we knew the cash flow plan for the project, and we would also sit down with the vendors that we are hiring to know when they needed to be paid. And we would send the invoice to the customer far in advance and follow up on that. So I don't know if there's a way for you to look at your invoicing process and if you can get your customer to pay you in advance. That's something that I will look at as well. And then for that amount, maybe you have somebody in your family, maybe you have friends, you explain the situation. You look at it with them and ask for maybe some people to chip in 5, 10,000 for a few months so that it helps you getting there. But you want to avoid to have that again in the future. And I hope for you that you will have the situation where you need to have more cash to grow. So it's really looking forward and saving that amount of that part of the money that will be used for you when you go to grow more. And trust me, after a while, that there will be bank that will be interested in helping you as well as they see the business grow. But that's really the short term. So look at how you can finance with people that you know, show the contract, look at how you can invoice the customer maybe earlier, and definitely manage this cash very tightly. And last but not least, look at the future, and so maybe create a special account for that. So you're wiring the money over there, you're not touching it, so it's there and it's available for when you need it to grow. Okay, good luck, Zach. Now the next question is from AJ Kutz. I hope I'm pronouncing well your last name, AJ. The question you ask is, how do you know when it's time to fire a client? Well, before going to the business description, I would say you know it because you're asking the question, so it's time. But in more background, you have an online marketing agency. There are 2 specific clients who consistently are frustrating to deal with. Their communication standards do not exist. When they need something, they expect our undivided attention at the expense of anything else, and they consistently struggle to pay us on time. Both can afford us. It's not a cash flow issue. I'm at the point where I'm ready to be done with them mentally, but firing them would reduce our monthly revenue by about 30%. I'm struggling with the idea of losing that much revenue, but gaining so much time back. So it's not only the time back. I bet you that if you're frustrated with this customer or those 2 customers, so is your team. And that can create as well and reinforce your culture in terms of the team, in terms of the customer, that you basically taking care of your people first, and obviously they will take care of the customer. Now, there's different ways here. You say they don't have any communication standard. Maybe you can also have a list of all the things that you would like to change with them and to revise their expectation. So you can prepare that presentation, think about maybe some advantages for them or some additional service that you could be offering from the moment that they respect the processes and how you work, and definitely have that conversation face-to-face with them, not through Zoom, definitely not on a call. Definitely go there if this is important for you to keep the customer. It would also demonstrate to them that you want to keep working with them, but not at any condition. Then in terms of the cash flow, I think that's also something that you need to be discussing. Again, going back to one of the questions we had previously in this session, when I had my corporate event agency and that I was asking the customer to pay in advance based on the cash flow that we both agree, my pitch from the get-go was to tell them, listen, I'm not a bank, so I am not going to ask you to pay me to have your money sitting on my account for 6 months, and I am not going to lend money for you and your project where you should be paying me. So that's also something you might want to revise in your sales processes and what you say to your customer in the sales process, and definitely with those two, work on something with them, explain that. And last but not least, if this is really a customer that you want to get rid of, just increase your fee, just increase what you charge them for the work you're doing, or tell them that you're going to have more costs based on what they're doing and the fact that you have to wait for the money. But in any case, whether you decide to fire those customers or whether you decide to try to change the rules and how you're operating with them, have that conversation face to face. If they leave afterwards, you're probably going to be happy to leave in good terms with them. And maybe there is still an opportunity for them to change. But I think you have to focus on your culture. You have to focus on the respect for your people. And obviously, you have to focus on your business and the cash flow and how they're paying you. Okay, Jay? So the next question also comes from you, from AJ. And the question is, how do you build a plan to reach your goal? Great question. The business description of the question said, Sean's group post today challenged me to consider my plan of reaching $1 million in revenue for our online marketing agency. I don't have much of a plan beyond an annual goal of $10,000 per month in revenue and a figure it out mindset. Not having a strong plan is clearly holding me back. I want to build this business. I want to be successful. I want to have the cash flow to take weekend trips to AO meetings. Great idea. Without feeling guilty. How do I begin laying the groundwork for that growth? Well, that's a great question, AJ. I would say, first of all, when you look at the $1 million of revenue, which is obviously a great goal and something you need to pursue, before looking at that, I would go back to, why did you start the business? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What joy are you getting? What is really firing you up? What type of services you are offering and what type of customer you're looking at. Only then can you look at, okay, these are the type of customer I'm looking at. This is the service I'm offering. What type of customer am I looking at? How am I going to find them? And so you start really from the reason why you started that business, the passion that you have. I know there's a saying that say, do what you want, the money will follow. That's very kind, but as you rightly ask, you need a plan. So start from the reason where you started your business. Define the type of service and what type of customer you're looking at. And then when you have defined the type of customer you're looking at, the question becomes, how are you going to reach them? What type of message are you going to tell them? So it's very important that you rehearse your pitch. That with your team, you look at what worked, what didn't work, what's important for the customer, and keep improving that, and put it in a really a playbook where you write it down, you know what you're saying and how you're saying it, and also what are the different objections that you could get from the customer to say, oh, what about this, what about that? So you're gonna have a list of maybe 10, maximum 15, I bet you maximum 15 different type of objections and the answer to that. And so this is something that you're rehearsing with your team, that you test, that you improve every time you're meeting with the customer. And then when you define the type of customer, how you're going to reach them, obviously you need to do it systematically. So I'm always fascinated by people that said, oh, I want to increase my sales. And then I ask them, so how many hours have you blocked in your calendar for that? And most of the time I have 10% of the people that raise their hands that I have an hour block every day, but most don't. So you need to block time in your calendar, whether it's 1 or 2 hours a day, where you systematically reach out to prospect. That is the time that you're doing that systematically. And I was always saying, you know, even if you do that 1 hour a day, and let's say you reach out to 4 people, that's 20 people per week. That's 80 people per month. And if you're working on a European schedule and only work 10 months a year, that's 800 people. 800 people. Trust me, if you reach out to 800 people, you bet you're going to reach your $1 million. So it's really looking at what you're doing, the type of service, why you're doing that, the type of customer, systematically reach out to them. And then what you're going to do is measuring how many meetings, how many calls you're making, how many meetings are you having, how many proposals are you doing, how many proposals that you've made are actually won, and why. And so you're going to define in your business the 4 or 5 different KPIs, so key performance indicator, that you're going to systematically measure, and you're going to see the link between those KPIs and the results that you're getting. That's the plan that you need to put in place. And most importantly, when you have this action plan, what you need is accountability. So whether it is with a coach, whether it is with a friend, whether it is with somebody in your family, systematically every week block time to have this accountability and review your KPIs. Personally, I have an accountability buddy. Every Monday, we speak at 5 p.m. Eastern for the three objective of each of us for the week. And it's not enough, for instance, if you're telling me I'm going to do my action plan, and then you tell me it's done, it's not enough to say it's done. You have to show it to me. So that's how we work, my accountability buddy Greg and myself. So hope it's helpful. There's a lot. But again, going back to the essential, why did you start your business? What type of service? What is you passionate about? The type of customer that you're looking at? And then be systematic in the reach out. Okay, good luck and keep us posted. And the next question now is from Gabriel Suarez. The question is, I'm looking for a suggestion or ideas for incentivizing team members for raising their total sales during shifts. Ideally, suggestions that have been tried before with positive outcomes. So the business description and background of the question. I have a chain of retail stores specializing in natural and holistic wellness. This objective of raising sales can be done a few ways, like getting more customers, having them come back more often, and in my opinion, the easiest one would be to improve at upselling existing customers. By the way, all those 3 are very good, and I would really encourage you to sit down with your team and to look at each of them and ask for ideas of how they think that could be achieved. My biggest challenge is finding an incentive program that encourages more sales without creating tension between team members or have them in any way feel the reward system is unfair or favorable to some. We have some employees that work a lot more hours than others. Some work on busier day than others. One thing that I consider may be good is to reward based on each employee's average sales value instead of total sales or some other metric. We have some stores doing a lot better than others, and I'm starting to feel that it's more the staff working in the shops than the location of the demographic. So I'd like to start with the last point you mentioned. Some stores are doing better than others. Do you know why? And that's something that I would really inquire. What are the reasons that those stores are doing better? And that's something that will come obviously from your customers, analyzing the type of sales, but also maybe being able to interview some of your customers from that stores and why they're so happy. The idea here is to be systematic in what your teams are saying to the customer. Again, as I mentioned in a previous question today, you're going to have maybe 10, 15 maximum objection from those customers. It's to this, it's to that, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. When you have this playbook where you've listed all the objection and the answer to it, you keep improving that. Obviously, if you have a store that is working better than others, cool. So investigate why, and then make sure that it's included in your playbook. And then train people in each store and maybe name somebody who's responsible for that. For each store, you have one person who's going to be the training responsible. You gather them together for a day, you train them and see afterwards how are sales performing and is having any impact. Now, in terms of incentive for incentivizing the team, you really have 2 schools here. The one is rewarding individual sales. Okay. Uh, that's great. That's creating competition. That's definitely in the culture in the US. It's not necessarily the same everywhere around the world. Let me just give you an example. We're doing incentive program for Sony Music way back, and it was people in the Netherlands, people in Belgium, people in Luxembourg, and the president was French. And in France, they had a program to reward the best salesperson. And in the Netherlands, they were fighting about it. They wanted to be incentivized, but only as a group. So if the group reached that point. And I think, as usual, the truth is probably in between both. What you want is definitely having an atmosphere where people are happy to go to work and they're supporting each other. And they understand that if your store is working well, then they're going to get the business and they're going to have the job. So there is a part where you have to look at incentivizing the store, incentivizing the team. And one way that you might as well incentivize individually, obviously you look at the sales they're doing individually, but also not only the value, but the number of sales, any feedback from customer, and also looking at what the other in your store are saying. In other words, that you create a program that in each store, somebody will be named by their own peers as the greatest person of the month or the greatest person of the year based on criteria that are not only related to sales, but are related to supporting other and also training others. So you have those two different aspects together. Then what you need to do is to make it clear and simple. The system has to be simple for people to understand, and the system has to be simple to explain. When you have that, then you test and you validate and you listen to your different team members, what they are doing with it. Don't try to please everybody. It doesn't ever work. And it has a name that actually I won't pronounce because I don't like it. But it's the idea of getting everyone together as a team and also rewarding individual performance. That's when you have both things, and that's working extremely well. Then again, the rest is you as the owner, as the face of the company, as the visionary, to go there, to be present, to explain, to communicate, and then it's going to percolate in every single store. What's very important is as well is to capture any new objection, any new question, so that if one store has one issue or one question they don't have the answer to, that others maybe have the answer and can help. So it's really working, again, you as the face of the company, as leader, communicating with everyone, going in all the stores and making sure that you explain why you're doing this, you explain the system, and you make sure that people are not afraid to ask questions if they haven't understood or if they have any suggestion. Okay, so I hope it helped, Gabriel. We going now to the next question from Kristen Pitts. Kristen is asking, what type of POS system do you recommend using to track inventory, or should we keep things as is? Is there a big enough benefit to a uniform system? The answer is yes. Should we invest in one to supply to all of our shops? Majority of our golf course owners are older and don't want to upgrade their systems. Some courses are more up to date and would be open to it if it makes sense to upgrade. How would you handle a change like this for our course owners? What's in it for them? Thank you for your time. Business description. We merchandise 13 golf pro shops. The golf course owners outsource their shops to us to handle, and they get a 15% cut profit of the merchandise sold. They write us a check each month for our 85%. We deliver, setup, remove all product, etc. Our staff is delivery and warehouse. We do not have staff at shops. Interesting. They use their staff, Golf Pro, etc. to sell product. Each shop has their own POS system to handle everything in their course, including tea time, our retail, food sometimes, etc. Every course is unique. Some of them have created their own SKU for a product. Others have just one single button for a product. The physical count inventory is done each month. We track everything on Excel to email and invoice each month. So having a uniform in English, a uniform system would definitely help. for sure. You can look at trends. You can also negotiate better afterwards with your vendors and go back to them and say, listen, this is how much we sold this year, and these are the different store that enjoy your product, whatever it is. Now, in terms of the what's in for them, I would say that first and most importantly, make sure that you make it easy for them, easier for them to do business with you. In other words, whatever system you implement, it has to be simpler than what it is now, and it should not be complicated for them to change. List all the benefit that it would be for them in terms of people understanding, increasing sales, better service to their customer, easier refill, whatever it is. At the end of the day, the end customer is the person buying in those shops. So if you can explain to your 13 golf owners why it would be better for the customer, that's where you're going to convince them. And then, quite frankly, for you, it's easier to manage, and probably as well have a system. If you can go a SaaS model, that would be easier for you in the long run. What you need to do in that case is making sure that if the internet is down in the store, that there's still a way to capture it offline. But at the end of the day, having a system that is standardized for all the golf course will help you for sure. And you know what, it will help you a lot as well is to sell to other golf courses, to outsource all those product and service to you. That is the essence of all, making it easy for them to buy from you. So that's all I can tell you for now. I don't have a specific system in mind. Probably other coach would be better suited for that, but for sure I would look at this way. Voila. So last question for today from Oscar Rodriguez. The question, hi Sean, as I'm getting my business going, how you recommend for me to pay myself? Background is I'm in the car business. Should I pay myself from each sale I do? Is there a formula or percentage I should put aside from each sale for overhead and to pay myself? Thank you. So I would like to recommend a book to you, Oscar, and it's a book from Mike Mikulovich, which I'm at a blank now, which is called, oh my goodness, I have to look. You know what? I'm gonna look right now because I love Mike. Pay yourself first, but that's. I really need to give you that book because I read it. I interviewed Mike on my podcast, and he's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm gonna tell you exactly. Okay, so the name of the book is Profit First. And that's really what he's talking about, to pay yourself first. What most entrepreneurs did, and trust me, I was there at the beginning as well. Most entrepreneurs do is that they pay themselves last. And then what happened is that for anything happening in the business, well, you should be the one paying yourself first. It's your business, it's the risk you're taking, it's everything you're doing. So whether it's per car or per month, I would just look probably per month, looking at maybe not per car, but what are the total profit, the total cost, what's coming in your cash flow plan for the year. And every time you can pay yourself, then wire the money to a separate account, so you're not tempted to use that to pay vendors or to increase costs, whatever it is in your business. You also, that's something that Mike's talking about, want to create a special account so that your tax are, you're preparing to pay your tax. In other words, on every sale, you know you're going to have a tax at the end of the year. So that amount of tax from the sale, you're moving it directly to a separate tax account. That at the end of the day, you know, yes, you need to pay yourself first, for sure. Obviously, when you start a business, it's easier said than done. What you need first is making sure you have your customer, that the business is running. But I would consider as soon as you're reaching the break even, to really start thinking about paying yourself first. You will see what system is easier for you, what system is most exciting for you. And at the end of the day, it's looking at the criteria on which you're paying yourself, whether it's per car or per month. But without a doubt, think about yourself first, because if everybody's happy but you're not making any money, then why do you have a business? Voila. I hope it's helping, Oscar. Sorry again for the blank on Mike's book, Profit First. That's it for me for today. I wish you a great day, and I will see you next month. Thank you.